I've been wanting to be a filmmaker since I was a junior in high school, but I had this belief that some people were born talented, that they had it better than I did, and since they had this natural born talent, there was no way I could be as great as they were. But I was still obsessed with filmmaking without the obsession. I was the type that watched the interviews of the greats, the how to's for lighting, how to shoot, and write your screenplays in 24-hour videos. Accumulating all this knowledge without it ever making a difference into my craft, I was unsatisfied with the quality I produced, not satisfied with my ideas, and hated the person on the other side of the viewfinder. And because I couldn't get over myself, I let all the good ideas that I had neutralize. Until one day, I'm sitting in the corner of a bright neon lit room, red, blue, and pink crashing into the cracks of the fort I created with my head in my legs. Then I stumbled upon an idea that captured my curiosity. The depressing music that I was listening to gave me a glimpse of what the short film was, and most importantly, what the character looked like. I loved the idea. I was given a glimpse of how brilliant this person on the other side of the viewfinder was, and I wanted to be the person who directed it. But I got it at the worst time. I was depressed, heartbroken, in a spiritual vacancy because my girlfriend of a year and I had broken up. I told everyone I was fine, but I was still torn up inside, just burrowed beneath the grief I could have avoided, further reinforcing the notion that I wasn't talented enough, so it became another one of those ideas that were neutralized on thought alone. Amid this time, I was lacking one thing: my identity. It was wrapped around this person. She was the only one I felt I could confide in, and when she was out the picture, I thought to myself, who was I without her? Where would my life go? You've never been this lost before. I'm looking in the mirror one day, awaking for work, a love chat video playing in the background of my exact circumstances, and I saw myself without any of the filters or excuses. For the first time, I saw me. 25 pounds overweight, yesterday's shirt on, 10 minutes late to work, and a cycle deep in spiritual, physical, and mentally demanding pain. Torn between the pain I'd been feeling, the lost sensation of vertigo, and the grief of missing someone I felt I loved. Painfully of regret of having the chance to get rid of something but not having the strength to get ahead of it before it got ahead of me. And it woke up in me for the first time: rage. After that day of seeing my shadow in the mirror, I, for the next 7 to 8 months, stopped feeling sorry for myself and began lifting. I began reading some books about life and learning lessons along the way. I began articulating my thoughts and writing them onto a piece of paper. Months later, after that, I'm going into work 15 pounds lighter, feeling good, ready to go to the gym after work as I walk through the mundane, murky, and hollow gray warehouse until an old coworker, who used to be my motivation to keep going to the gym, came up next to me and asked, "What's your goal?" And when it came to the gym, I didn't have a conclusive goal aside from abs and getting shredded, which is every dude's goal. Which, honestly, I just wanted to say I was trying to get revenge on my ex and prove to her that she made a mistake for dumping me in the first place. And once she sees how fit I get, she'll want to come back, or she'll miss me. You know, 20-year-old post breakup activities. Then he told me you gotta have a goal, whether that's losing X amount of pounds this month or figuring out the type of body you want to achieve and working towards that, because all I had at this time was revenge, abs, and shredded. But I had no definitive answer. I didn't know exactly what I would do in order to get to that position. That same day, I'm scrolling through the same emails for the ninth time, doing inventory on the items that I was working in. Then it hit me like bullets of an apple that Carlito spits into the faces of people who aren't cool: the subject. It was like the Garden of Eden had opened up its gates, and each thought, each action, each reaction about the project was congruent to what I wanted most. Flow state never tasted so good. So, during my lunch, I went ahead and wrote the entire script for the short film, and most importantly, the character. He was shredded, he had a buzz haircut, and he had a suit with a red tie. For I was to direct this film and create my first idea, but I soon realized I gotta find someone who can play this character. Until once again I realized nobody in my vicinity has these types of qualities, these types of characteristics, or even has the interest of doing a short film. So I'm asking around. I'm realizing you're not really the type of fit. I kind of don't really want to work around you. I would ask you, but no. Then it dawned upon me: I have to become the subject. And for the first time in years, I had a definitive goal, and it was to make this short film and to become the character in the short film. This character embodied all that I wanted to be on the outside: in good shape, had a status that he was tough, and for a moment there it seemed as though this would be my identity, this character. So, the revenge plot on my ex girlfriend thickened. I would tackle all the tasks to become the subject for the short film I was wanting to film. I would play the subject, I would direct the subject, and I would get into peak physical shape. I doubled down on my calorie goals, eating 1,800 to 2,000 calories, walking more, hiking more ab workouts, and lifting 6 times a week, sleeping 9 hours a day, carrying a liter of water for each day of the week. I stopped eating out, I declined invitations, I declined sweet snacks at events, and would take my own lunch to restaurants with my folks, for I was going to be the subject. And for the first time in my life, I felt locked in. The weeks passed by: 5 pounds, 7 pounds, 13 pounds, 18 pounds, 10% body fat. I'm finishing books like Atomic Habits, Talking to Strangers, The Four Agreements, improving upon my own communication, getting stronger, getting leaner, learning more. And throughout that course of time, I realized how foolish I was to use my ex girlfriend as coal to my fire. And instead of trying to make a change in myself for her, why not just do it for me? It no longer occupied my mental space on what she thought of me, but on what I thought of me. And in a way, my head was envisioning a future version of George, someone who was confident, who was reliable, who was calm, handsome, competent. My music, my actions, my habits, and my attitudes began to shift dramatically. And because my body was aligned with my thoughts, change became undeniable, because in the next 4 to 5 months or so, I became the fucking subject. I became the type of person capable of withstanding hardship, knowing that I have the capacity to be the type of guy who does hard shit. Like, I now understand that I have two versions of George in me. I have the one that I know to be truly, authentically myself, the one who's kind, the one who's confident, the one who's capable and competent. But I also know that I have that dog inside of me. I know I have a second engine. I know that the subject is still brewing himself inside of me, because amid my time of trying to become this character, I started becoming more like this guy. And it's interesting. I didn't find myself in him, but I found my identity that I lost in pursuit of him. Often when life turns itself upside down, it's not merely happening to you, but refining, adding more depth, and reinforcing the type of person you are bound to be the moment you get through it. How will you respond when reinforcements drop? How will you respond when everything goes to shit? You're beaten down, heartbroken, lost, you have no money. It's in these moments where you will hold on to anything, because throughout all this time you didn't think yourself to be talented. You didn't think yourself to be capable or competent, until one day when you're in the shit, you can no longer use that fuel of contempt on yourself, because for once you actually need yourself to get back up. And finally you will realize the power of being your own best friend, being your best comrade, your best ally. For when the time came when you need to be in fourth quarter energy, you rose to the surface, slayed the challenges, out-jumped the hurdles, and made it to the other side of the wall, because though life had you torn down, you had a goal so large that you didn't question its validity. You had no other choice to make it happen, because your outer circumstances were so putrid you had no other way to go but forward. And in that process, you found someone so capable, so competent, so unlike the person you expected yourself to become. And then, and only then, will you realize you were always there. It was only waiting on you. That is change. There's such power in having a reason why you begin taking action, for a man's why will allow him to endure.